Welcome back, Sarah. I feel like you're part of this community, so heavily ingrained in this community. It's brilliant to have you with me today. And today we are talking Reiki, mysterious
Absolutely.
subject to lots of people. But before we throw ourselves into that, tell us first off a little bit about Sarah Presley, and kind of how Reiki's shown up in your life.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with ME at the age of 26, and just had this determination that I wanted to do everything I could to get better again. And my doctors actually suggested that I try different holistic therapies, because they said we don't know how we're gonna, how we can fix this, and you could end up having ME for the rest of your life. And I like some of the byproducts of ME is that you suffer with quite severe anxiety and depression. So that was quite hard to live with day by day. Now, part of my journey, I ended up wanting to know more about the human body and started training as a massage therapist. Wasn't at the time planning on becoming a massage therapist, but it was just a way of understanding the human body and tension that we hold and things like that. And thought maybe if I can do self massage, it might help. And that was where I met somebody for the first time that was talking to me about Reiki, and it sounded really weird. I'm not gonna lie, it just sounded really weird. And I don't think I really connected the dots of it being helpful for me until another chance encounter with another lady who offered to do 15 minutes of Reiki on me. And I just sat down, she put her hands on my shoulders, and I could feel it working. This thing that sounded really weird, I could feel it working. And after 15 minutes, I felt really good. So that was kind of my introduction to Reiki, and I then started having some regular treatments and really enjoyed them. And quite soon on, I decided that I wanted to do Reiki 1 to find out more. And it wasn't about doing this and supporting people for a living at all at this point. It was just, now, how can this help me? And I found it blew my mind at how much it could help me. When I went to do Reiki 1, the only way I could describe with living with ME is sometimes you would feel like you were a shell and all the lights were switched off. And sometimes you'd feel like there wasn't even a shell. It was, you were just existing, but there wasn't any joy or anything about your existence. And what I found was, after doing Reiki 1, I felt like the lights, although it might not have been shining brightly, but there was a sense that the lights had turned back on again.
Wow.
And I knew I was going to get better. And although it still took quite a period of time to get better, I knew that that would happen. So that was how I got into Reiki. But a little bit about me is that I've got a lovely husband. I've got two boys, a rescue dog. And aside from busy work and things like that, I love gardening. I've been in bands for years as well, and I love doing creative things. So I'm sort of into sewing and mosaics and things like that. Anything where a bit of arts and crafts. Been learning to knit lately as well. So those are some of the things that I like in everyday life. Away from
Gardening and creativity is lots of those mindful activities as well, isn't it? So it's
yeah.
understandable how all these things link together. So Reiki for you, for all that you've taken it to a whole different level now, Reiki for you has hugely been about self-healing and self-discovery and self-connection, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things I loved about doing Reiki 1 was the ability to be able to do Reiki on myself. It felt really empowering because having had ME for quite a number of years at this point, everything I'd done was to pass myself over to another person and say, fix me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I was now having the tools to help support myself. And I was taking responsibility for myself, and that was really important too, that I was noticing that I needed to be involved within the journey of healing rather than expecting someone else to wave a magic wand. Don't get me wrong, I was seeking a magic wand. I wanted a magic wand. I wanted somebody to, there you go, here's a magic pill, you're okay. And I desperately wanted that. But what I discovered instead was that magic wand was inside of me. you know, that I was the magic wand that was going to bring myself back to a better state of health and well-being. You know, for me, that was what I discovered.
It's incredible because, you know, there are so many different kinds of energy work, and there are, again, lots and lots of different kinds of Reiki, and you know, we hear Reiki, so this kind of Reiki, that kind of Reiki, but sort of banded around a lot. But I kind of don't really want to talk about that. I want to talk about your kind of Reiki, because when you think about the clients that you work with and the people that you work with, it absolutely is that journey focused on them, right from those early stages of working with you as that person on the couch, and then
Yeah.
you know, then it literally just it goes anywhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that first session is so much about making a connection and building a trust. And you know, and I always say this: you've got to feel that the treatment itself is something you can work with, but you've got to feel that you can work with a therapist as well. So, you know, for some people, it might be one treatment and they just don't feel that. But for other people, it could be within that session, they felt held, you know, they felt safe to be able to do whatever they need to do within their journey. And Reiki, I don't see, you know, a lot of people say, oh, we're healers. No, I see myself holding the energy for somebody to be able to do the healing work that they need to do within it. You know, I'm just facilitating the energy, you know, to hold that space for that person to do whatever is needed within that hour. You know, that's how I see it. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that you trained in massage initially on this journey.
Yeah.
But just to kind of just throw a few things out there and sort of explain what Reiki isn't. So for some people, Reiki is a hands-on experience, and for some, it's a hands-off experience. But although
Yeah.
you have this qualification in massage, it's not a pummeling and kind of, you know, manipulative experience in that sense, is it? What is a session like with you? Because it will be different with other people.
Yeah, so there's a consultation to find out why somebody's there, you know, asking the questions of what brings them to Reiki. And it's a very open and honest structure of, I always explain what's going to happen before it happens, so that you're not kind of like, you know, they might have a fear around what was going to happen. So I always explain the treatment beforehand of what you could experience, you know, and you remain fully clothed as well, which I think feels nice. You only take your shoes off, you know, if you need to run, you can quickly access your shoes.
Always a snuggly blanket.
Yeah, and it's snuggly blanket, nice warm room, nice relaxing music. And then there's the experience of Reiki itself. So as you rightly said, for some people it can be hands-on, some people it's a hands-off experience. I was trained hands-on. However, there is the option that if someone says, I don't want to be touched or held in a certain area, then that's okay, you know, and that discussion can be had. I've had people say, can you not touch me around my ears? And that's really cool. Or even around the top of my head, I feel really sensitive there, or my toes or whatever. So that's really good to know. Part of it, you know, the power of touch is incredible, but sometimes the power of touch can be too much.
Yes.
You know, so but the hands are held on various parts of the body over the blanket, and you know, within that you can you might be able to feel energy movements occur. So you might feel a pushing or a pulling. You might feel that my hands go hot or cold. And that's really interesting as well, because sometimes people will say, gosh, your hands are freezing cold. And you won't know this, but I'm going, and I'm thinking, no, they feel normal, you know, absolutely normal to me. But yeah, you can feel various like heats of temperature. You can, you know, some people feel waves coursing through them. Some people get nerve ending tingling. So it's like a pins and needles, but pleasant pins and needles feeling in various parts of the body. But some people don't get a physical experience like that. For some people, it's they kind of feel that they're deeply relaxed, and maybe they start seeing colors, or even feeling like they're going on an adventure, or just thinking about things that they thinking, why on earth am I thinking this? Is like really random thoughts that come in. And some people don't experience that, other than right at the end they suddenly feel that they feel really peaceful. you know, but it's not necessarily been a physical or a mental or emotional process. They just feel very different to when they started, but a deeper peacefulness than what you'd get from just lying on your bed without any, you know, without anything going on.
And I guess part of the key then is being open-minded to where that experience takes you.
Yeah.
I remember when I first came, I remember you sort of describing exactly those things to me. And because I'm not a visual person, I remember actually adamantly saying to you, well, I can tell you now I'm not going to see colours or shapes or anything like that because I just don't. And then, as if someone had slapped me around the face with a paint tin, the colours came in while I was having that first treatment with you. And it was such a powerful experience. But equally, there are times when I've been there and the colours haven't come, but it's been as much about me stepping out of my world and into your world, almost into that haven, into myself.
Yeah.
And just learning over time that this is a journey, and whatever needs to happen at the time is whatever needs to happen at the time. It's strange, isn't it? Because it's not a world that gets talked about in Britain. It's not the British way of kind of, you know, talking about things, energies and that kind of thing. So it is something really new for a lot of people, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, what you were just touching on, every treatment is unique. It's a completely unique experience, and no two people will have the same experience. But even yourself, each time you come, it will be a completely different experience each time. And I often, this analogy of peeling back layers of the onion, it's a little bit like that, sort of sifting back each layer just to see what comes, you know, and you know, that the energy takes place on within the physical body, but it also works with the emotional body, the mental body, and also what we call the spiritual body as well. So it can be working with any of those things. Even if someone says, can you come, I'm coming into, can you help me with my knee, you know, and it might be that their knee is still really painful, but the anxiety and stress they've been experiencing about something else in their life might now be, they might be feeling much more peaceful about, because actually that's what it's worked on, because that need was greater really than the pain in the knee.
Yeah.
You know, and actually that was part of the process for them to help manage the pain in their knee much better.
Yeah, this is really interesting when you talk about that as an example, because that might, someone with knee pain, that might not have been anywhere near what they were thinking Reiki was all about. They were thinking, oh, you know, Reiki is about an emotional journey, or Reiki is a spiritual thing. It's all about spirits. And actually, people come to see you and to work with you for a huge array of reasons, don't they? And when you describe it like the layers of an onion, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual, that makes total sense then.
Yeah. I mean, I've worked with babies right up to people in their 90s, and all the way through, male, female as well, and for such a huge variety of things, from people maybe being at end of life care, you know, with cancer, to people suffering with sleep problems and everything else in between. There's such a variety of reasons why people come, and even, you know, people that might come for sleep problems, I might say, I don't know if we will get to the sleep problems, but we might work some other things out along the way, you know, because that's how it works. It works at that peeling back of those layers, working on those 4 different levels in order for you to be much more at peace with yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Remind us of those 4 levels again.
Those 4 levels: physical level, emotional, mental, and spiritual. You know, that's who we are as beings.
Yeah.
They're all combined. And I think so much we see, you know, our brains and our bodies as completely separate entities, but they're all entwined. You know, how we think about something can have an effect on our physical body, or a physical injury, you know, can often mean that emotions are really stored around it. You know, you've got the primary source of pain, which could be an injury, or it could be wear and tear. But the secondary source of pain is how we feel about it. So, you know, and that intensifies the pain so much, makes it worse. So by dealing with all of those layers, you know, we're working through such an important process for people, to be able to view things with maybe a new perspective and a new awareness, and to understand how to peel back those layers that have been created from different events in their life, you know, the way that they think about life. has been created maybe by traumas and stress and things like that. So we're gradually peeling it back. So it's so much, it's not a one treatment thing in lots of ways. You know, it is, I hate using it, it's a journey. It's a journey.
It's a real connection with self, isn't it? When we go right back to the top of this conversation, and you said Reiki was giving you the opportunity to have some ownership, some self-responsibility in your healing. And I think that is huge.
Yeah.
You know, we can't always believe that we can sort everything out ourselves, which is why we've gone to ask someone to fix us. But how many people are in that situation where they've hit a brick wall? You know, I've been trying to do this and it's not getting any better. I've been trying to do that. I've been waiting for this specialist or something, you know. And now I guess even more that the NHS is under such pressure. But even if it's not a medical thing as such, reaching that point where you're not quite sure what else to try, but you still have that something in you that's going, that there'll be something.
Yeah.
Finding Reiki as a way of self-healing is so massively empowering, isn't it? I can move myself from where I've found myself.
And I love that you used that you know, the brick wall, because I think that's a perfect analogy for what goes on for us. You know, when we're looking at those 4 levels of healing, what's often happened within the energy of those is that there's blockages that have been created, and the blockages stop energy from flowing. And so when we've got those blockages, we can't see a way out. It is just a brick wall. So Reiki will help to break down the brick wall. It will help to break down those blockages. So the communication of those 4 levels of your physical body, your emotional, your mental, and your spiritual can then take place, so that you are able to see the solutions. You know, you are able to, you know, use everything within yourself to get the solutions that are right for you, rather than someone else telling you how to do it. You know, and that is amazing as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So when you talk about that, the physical body, that kind of, you know, is an obvious thing. The emotional part of us, we kind of understand that we've got all these thoughts and feelings. The mental part was another one. Yeah, we understand that, you know, those feelings, the thoughts, you know, and how they influence the feelings. The spiritual one is an interesting one.
Yeah.
This is, I guess, is where suddenly people go, oh, hang on.
Yeah.
So how do you reassure people when you start to work with them, if that's something that they are not suspicious of but apprehensive about? How do you reassure them of that element coming into this practice, but not in a, I'm throwing this at you, I'm throwing all of these things?
Yeah. And I think the thing is, the way that I've always done things has always been in a really grounded way. So when you come to me, I'm not going to be going, we have an angel in the room. You know, I'm not that kind of practitioner, because I really understand that I had fears around what all of that would mean for myself. And I think it's because spirituality gets very much tied up with, you know, religion, but also having a belief in angels and things like that. To me, spirituality is a sense of connection with something that is outside of ourselves. And through that sense, and that could be with a tree, you know, that could be noticing the clouds in the sky. It's a sense of feeling plugged in and connected to something that is bigger, and that we're not an island. And that there's so much comfort that comes from that, you know, that sense of us being part of something that is a lot bigger as well. You know, so I think for me, gardening came alongside Reiki, of all of a sudden this real appreciation for nature, you know, of being able, of growth, you know, of new beginnings and things like that. So I think I want to step away from spirituality and the connotations that are often used about it. Spirituality is about having a sense of compassion for the self and a sense of compassion for people around you. It helps you to have more of a deeper understanding of where we fit within the world and where other people fit with us. We start understanding that maybe when the people act badly around us, maybe they're suffering. It doesn't mean that that's okay. It just means that we have appreciation that what we feel, other people feel too. So does that make sense? Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's a great way. You know, that connection is a great way. Unfortunately, spirituality has become sensationalized in so many, you know, that sort of showbiz
Yeah. And
medium
it's kind
thing,
of,
and it
yeah.
spoils the rich gift that that is for so many people, and the comfort that people get from that. You know, it's like the difference between religion and faith. Some people
Yeah.
are more comfortable with it being, you know, talked about in one terms because they're not necessarily comfortable with religion as a word per se and the sort of organizational aspect of that. So when you talk about it as connection to self and to the things around us that serve us and ground us, I think that's, you know, a great way of describing it.
Yeah, I mean, for some people, there is a growth of psychic awareness, you know, as part of that journey. I mean, I'm not going to deny that, but
Mm.
I think I just want to, I think the way that I've always done things is to take those steps in a really kind of safe and natural way,
Yeah.
and so that it, you know, that there's different elements of understanding about what that is, and you can explore that in a way that feels right for you.
Yeah.
If I know that for myself, when I had ME, to describe the spiritual side of the effect of that was I felt my spirit had been dented, you know. And why do we use terms like that? Because that's not something that I could put into emotional terms or mental terms or physical terms in any way. This was something that was another part of my consciousness saying it felt dented, you know, or that analogy I used of the lights being switched off.
Mm.
You know, that to me is what that's something that is beyond those other explanations.
Yeah. So I'm going to take you back to the word journey, and I know you pulled a face when you used the word journey, but it absolutely has been that, hasn't it? And what I love about the way that you work with your clients is this understanding that that is an option available to them right from the start, because
Yeah.
your Reiki experience with people isn't just about a one-to-one treatment with them, is it?
No, I kind of, the way that I remember the first treatment I ever did with somebody, and I found myself saying something which has stayed true for the rest of time. And I said, you are the coach, the driver of your own life, and I'm on the coach with you. And actually, there might be other people that need to get on the coach as part of this journey. And if you need me to get off at any point, I'll get off. But if you get further down the route and you want me back on again, I'll get back on. And that's very much how I see the role. I don't own the experience, the person does. And if they want me as part of that, you know, their process, I'm there, you know. And even when they don't need me as part of the process, I'm still there.
The energy.
And that to me, I feel is really important,
Yeah.
you know, that people feel that they know that.
So as that journey develops from, you know, as you introduce the concept of self-healing to people, and yes, part of that happens when they have a treatment with you, but actually they can take a greater role in that themselves. Just explain to us how you work with all the different ways that Reiki is part of your life and your business, because it, as I say, it's not just about people coming to you for a treatment. You literally take us on that journey for as much or as little as we want to experience.
Yeah, I mean, for people who want to know more, then the next step could be Reiki 1. And Reiki 1 attunes you so that you're able to do Reiki yourself. You're able to facilitate the energy. And, you know, that means that you can then practice on your friends and family, but most importantly, be able to do Reiki on yourself and do that self-healing. And then for people who might feel, well, I want to know more, I want to kind of deepen my awareness and deepen my knowledge, then there's Reiki 2, which kind of opens up more about how we can experience it in a deeper life and bring it to so many different elements of everyday life as well. You know, I probably use it, you know, not just on putting your hands on yourself, but being able to sort of transmute negative energy that's around you so that you can flow better, and bringing you into harmony and making you feel safe and things like that. That's how Reiki can be used. So that second process takes you through all of those things. Then there's Reiki practitioner level. So for people who just fall in love with it and feel like, oh, they want to share it, then there's a course in that. And I've been my course has been verified by the Reiki Federation, and it's also recognised by an organisation called the CNHC, and that's a register that actually shows a very high accreditation level, and it's what actually GPs use if they're going to refer somebody to a practitioner. That's what they use to make sure that that practitioner has worked to high standards. So I'm very
I know you joke about that, but I know how important that accreditation was to you. And getting that accreditation, and that is the measure of the human being. That whole, I believe in what I do, but actually I'm accredited at what I do, and I know how important that was to you. So Reiki practitioner then, is that's about people being able to practice as a practitioner, so not just family and friends. They are offering their services, for want of a better phrase, that
and I bring, for all the years that I've been doing this, I bring that experience in, and just to show them sometimes the pitfalls of being a therapist, but also to to help them with everything they need to know about actually running the business as well, which is, so it's business skills as much as being practitioner skills. And about the whole developing a really professional relationship and establishing the right boundaries, and the right know-how about how the body's made up, to be able to look out for things that we call red flags, so somebody who might be displaying certain physical ailments, that we'd be able to signpost and refer them to the right place as well. So there's really good boundaries within that. And then beyond that, and something like the level I've just started teaching this year is also Reiki Master. So you don't have to be a practitioner to go and embark on a Reiki Master journey. It's a very personal journey. And you don't have to go on and teach Reiki afterwards, but you learn how to master Reiki, and you learn how to let Reiki master you. It's a real marrying. And it's a deep healing journey that you embark on. It's absolutely incredible. And what I put together is a really supportive network for that journey to take place. And I'm very much enjoying supporting people with that right now.
Yeah. And I assume that the details of all of those things are on your website, which is going to be alongside this video or in the link in this podcast.
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
So if somebody wants to work with you, so let's stick with you first. Things have changed a lot in the last 15 months, I would imagine, because we talked about it being a hands-on treatment. So how have you managed lockdown?
Yes, and this is where it sounds terribly woo, but it works. And if we really look into the science behind this, we know that it can work, of how energy can move. So we actually do something which is called distant healing treatments, or I call them remote treatments. And so I connect up over the phone with somebody. We'd still have a consultation. They stay on the phone line all the way through, but they receive a treatment while they are led on their own beds, listening to relaxing music if they want to as well. And it has been incredible. I think when we went into lockdown last year, I'd say probably about 60% of my clients opted for it. And it's been, what has really made an impression on me was the conversations I was having when we were coming out of lockdown last year, where people were saying, I think I prefer this.
Interesting.
And they were saying, I like being home. I like that I don't have to rush to you. And what we were experiencing as well is sometimes the treatments felt deeper and even more connected in some way, which has blown my mind. And I think it blew theirs as well. So going forward is the option of either or. So if you wake up on the day and think, yeah, I'd like to go in the room today, then there is going to be that choice. Or if you wake up and think, oh no, I think I'd like to be in my snuggly bed, then there's that choice. And I think that's such a beautiful thing.
It's incredible, isn't it? As an initial concept, you're like, what? When you kind of explore, we can do this distant, you're like, really? But it is that I'm in my own haven, I'm in my own nest. So that whole, I guess, level of relaxation into the process is potentially for some people different. I find your room very relaxing, as you well know, but I guess for some people they're most relaxed in their own environment, in their own. But I'm so glad that that's something that you're going to offer moving forwards.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's blown my mind, even though I knew how well it works and what can happen and what can take place. It blew my mind so much to see that, even though I knew we could do it distantly, but for a whole hour, of holding that facilitating that energy for someone to do what they need to do in their safe haven is just amazing, absolutely amazing.
And so actually that means that wherever somebody is, I was going to say in the UK, but let's not stop there, globally, wherever anybody is, they could tap into working with you on their Reiki journey. And I know that lots of your courses and things you're running online as well, which is amazing that people haven't had to stop on that journey just because of everything that's gone on for us in the last 14-15 months.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to focus on a physical person that was geographically closer to them, what would your advice be about finding the right kind of person, knowing they're paying the right kind of price, or all of that sort of thing?
Well, when I train Reiki practitioners, one of the things I recommend is actually joining a professional body. For one, that you end up as a practitioner as having support around you and where you can go for advice. And that has been worth its weight in gold while we've gone through the pandemic, that we've been, you're able to turn to your professional body and say, what's your advice in this area? And they communicate with the government on your behalf to make sure that they've got the right understandings and that you're actually proceeding in a legal way. So that's where I've really seen the huge benefit. But as a Reiki practitioner, when you sign up to a professional body, you're signing up to their code of ethics. So there's accountability for what you do. And a code of ethics is a document that supports you as a practitioner, but it supports the client as well. So you're signing up to say, I see this as a professional working relationship, and this is what I adhere to, and I work within this structure. You also commit to continuous professional development. So you have to do, I think it's about 12 hours a year to continue your knowledge. So you make a commitment to that. So what's great is the professional bodies generally have a postcode search on their websites. So if you were to go to one of the professional bodies, and I'll give an example of the Reiki Federation, the UK Reiki Federation, you could put in your postcode, and it will show you all of the Reiki practitioners who've signed up to that code of ethics who are in your area.
Right.
And so, and I think that's a really good thing. Outside of that, there is the Reiki Council, an advisory body. So there is a particular structure that they recommend that you follow when you're seeking out your classes. So for one, if you go for Reiki 1, you choose a course that does 4 attunements, and that could be over 4 mornings or 4 afternoons or over 2 days, but you receive 4 attunements. And in a Reiki 2, you either have 2 or 1 attunements. And they feel that that's the right structure for you to be following as well. But they've got great advice, and they also have advice for looking for the right kind of practitioner as well.
Brilliant. So much of these kind of practices, these kind of treatments, for want of a better word, is about that relationship between you and your practitioner. It's about the trust, it's about the space, it's about that feeling of safety and security.
Yeah.
And I think taking your time over that decision and finding the right person is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, you make a human connection, and that's important, that you find the right human connection to do that with. Yeah.
And I know, going back to what you were saying earlier, I know that that journey's been different for every single person that comes to you. But from a personal point of view, working with you was definitely for me about a journey of self-healing, and it's a constantly evolving process for me. I'm learning all the time. Every treatment I have, whether it's a Reiki treatment with you or meditation class with you, everything is about learning about myself and learning about how I can help myself. And I think being open to Reiki as a real journey of self-discovery and self-healing, it has been one of the most enlightening things for me. I think finding myself in a situation I didn't want to be in, and needing someone's energetic support to get out of it has been instrumental in coping with all sorts of things that have happened in life. But also it's had a knock-on effect on people outside of just me. And I think that's the beautiful thing. You learn about yourself, which helps you to learn about your relationships, close and further apart. And I think it also helps to open up. Both of my children have been to see you as well, and certainly you've helped to move them from a place of being stuck.
Yeah,
I think that's been the biggest thing for us, feeling stuck somewhere and then feeling empowered to move with your help and guidance, but kind of owning that movement.
Yeah, it's not interference, is it? It's just knowing that person is there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what I found, people going through a tough time, they've got that maybe a monthly treatment or 6-weekly treatment, and they know that they just got to do what they need to do within that month, and then they can just come and be restored, within the energy, be rebalanced, so they can then go back out and deal with whatever it is going to throw. They're going to be, life will throw at them for the next month.
Absolutely. For me, it's like the ultimate in self-care. It's a gift that you can give to yourself.
Yeah.
And the ripple effects from that through lots of parts of your life, you will never expect them. But it's such a joy when you realize that, I'll take that, as I kind of know where that's come from. So so what's coming up for you this year? We come out of lockdown, but you've learnt so many things by the sound of it about what you can do and how you can take people further on this journey during lockdown. What's coming up? What's exciting for 2021?
Well, obviously the Reiki Master, that's something that started out at the beginning of this year, and already the next course that I've got booked in the diary for September has already been booked out as well. So so there's a lot of people that are really ready to take that next step, which is lovely. But what happened 3 years ago, I just felt this drawing to do Kundalini Yoga, and I started exploring Kundalini Yoga. I didn't really know why. I knew I loved yoga, and Kundalini combines what I love also that I do in meditation, that it combines breath and mantra and chanting, and then it encompasses what we do with a lot of the energy work of working with energy, working with chakras. But what absolutely blew my mind and now makes so much sense was that I learned that thousands of years ago, Kundalini Yoga would be practiced every day to enhance Reiki, because Reiki's been around forever, and actually it would be used in order to really enhance the Reiki ability. And that, when I learned that, was like, it was all of a sudden, the only way I could describe it was I felt complete. I felt really complete, and realized that all of my journey was so much about that. So this year is going to be a lot of understanding more about how that fits, and how I can bring that out, that learning that I've just been experiencing with regards to that, how I can help people with that journey as well, with bringing that movement, the vibrational work, to really enhance what they learn maybe through Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
As a holistic practice, it's bringing all these wonderful tools together, isn't it? And
I mean, the asanas themselves, we were talking earlier about the emotions, so much of that attaches to us in a physical way, through the muscles. When you think about if you are worried, you tense your body in some way, and you experience maybe a churning in your abdomen. So it's a physical feeling that we get through an emotion. If you're angry, we get hot-headed. But if we sit with anger, quite often it goes up into our jaw and into our neck, and we might tense our hands as well. So the asanas themselves really help to open up and release that tension in the muscles. So what I've been seeing for myself with my own Reiki self-heal is it can move even better, because I'm not holding all that tension. It's been released through the asanas. And so it's still a lot more to experiment for myself within that, really, I feel like over the next year I'll be really comprehending about how I'm going to marry all of those things together.
Yeah. And is that likely to result in some more Sarah Presley retreat type days? Because we've experienced some of those before and they are very special days.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just have to find the right venue now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So many elements coming together, Sarah. It's so brilliant to see you light up as you talk about this journey. It's been part of your life for such a long time. This, you know, your Reiki, your meditation, and now your Kundalini as well, all coming together. Yet you talk about it like it's this brand new precious gift that you've just got. You still have that same passion and enthusiasm for what you do, regardless of the thousands and thousands of treatments that you must have given, and the probably hundreds and thousands of students that you've taught along the way as well. So thank you so much for bringing your energy today. Thank you so much for bringing your energy to the Tip the Balance tribe anyway. It's brilliant to have you as part of the team in every way that you show up in this team, every skill that you bring. So yeah, just massive thank you on every level.
Oh, it's absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
I'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye.